Hello, everyone. This is Natalie Armstrong-Motin with Marketing Resolution. Thanks very much for watching today. Today, my guest is Susan Beach from Vancouver, BC. Hello, how are you, Susan?
I'm great today. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. And I'm glad you could join. I know that in your practice, you have a really unique perspective that I like, and that is that when clients come to you in mediation, you are really talented at taking best advantage of the creativity that we are not just allowed but encouraged to use in mediation. And so I was wondering if you wouldn't mind spending a few minutes and explaining to us how that kind of creativity comes into play in a mediation room.
Okay. All right. So when I was practicing law, I attended many mediations, and many of them were, you would get results, but they were not as satisfying as my clients wanted. And so I got involved in one particular mediation in which a sawmill had been barely operating in this area that was rural area for a long time. It didn't really have any zoning, but houses had cropped up around the sawmill. Eventually I got to the point where it was changed zoning and it became rural residential. So the sawmill was grandfathered in, so to speak, to be allowed to operate. Well, it changed owners. And so before, the sawmill operator didn't operate very often and no one worried about this sawmill. But when the new owner came in, the new owner was operating full-time, Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and making lots of noise, and now it was really a residential area. Needless to say, the neighbors were really upset with that, and I was as counsel, actually, representing the particular municipality, local government that was involved. But what I did was I interviewed many of the neighbors, approximately 20 of them. I gathered what was their biggest complaints, concerns about this sawmill. And I realized that it came down to traffic and noise. And so when we went into the mediation, no one had really thought of what they could do or what could happen with the sawmill. They didn't want the sawmill to operate, and but legally, really, they were allowed to operate. So that made it difficult, and of course, the politicians wanted an answer as well to make their constituents happy. So working with the neighbors gave me that relationship with them to realize that we needed something to help us with noise softening. So I scoured the internet and Googled my little heart out and discovered that, lo and behold, there were sawmill people that specialized in sawmills. And in fact, they specialized in noise softening, or attenuation, as they formally called it. So you could bring in these people and have them analyze what was making the significant large amounts of noise, and different ways, such as putting them on concrete blocks and different types of drywall and all different sort of creative solutions that they could do to soften the noise in the sawmill. And so that's what we ended up doing. We hired this expert in the field who was a professor at one of the universities, and he came in, and we all worked together to decrease the noise. We organized a trucking schedule that met with some of the concerns of the neighbors, such as not going when the kids were on the roads, and not going too early in the morning and too late at night. And so that all worked out, but this was a prime example of something that you could never get in court. You would never get a judge that would order that such a report would be done and all these changes to the sawmill would be done to accommodate the neighbors. It simply wouldn't happen. And essentially what happened was I basically took over as mediator and mediated this whole sound attenuation issue, and it brought everything to a conclusion. And the neighbors were happy that they had a quieter area, and the sawmill was happy that the neighbors weren't irritated and they could continue operating without too much bother, so to speak. So that really showed me that if you really think creatively and out of the box, you can come up with resolutions to solve things that work all around.
Right. And I love that story. And I know that it is the catalyst for you becoming a mediator.
Yes.
And moving away from being a litigator or a gladiator for your clients. And,
Yes.
and so helping clients understand that in a mediation, as opposed to litigation, you really do have all kinds of options available. You can be creative. It doesn't have to be precedent-setting law. It doesn't have to be necessarily anything to do with the law. In fact, it can just be a settlement that you create that suits the best needs of everybody in the room.
That's right. That's right. And so it becomes more of a win-win rather than the win-lose situation you get in litigation.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that story, and I think that it is so symbolic and so emblematic of what we as mediators have the ability to do for our clients, and that you really embraced it and now use that to differentiate yourself in the marketplace of mediators. I think is fantastic. Well done, you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So who are your primary clients?
My primary clients would be local government, municipalities, regional districts, and the people that live in them. So disputes with neighbors, disputes with municipalities, permits, building permits, all sorts of development issues. But I'm also doing employment because I've done employment all my life as a lawyer as well. And so I'm doing workplace conflict, wrongful dismissals, and I also do workplace investigations.
Wow. Okay. But some of those are simply because you have such a huge resume in those specialties. And some of them are just really because you're super passionate about helping people in your neighborhood. And I love that about you, Susan.
Thank you. Yes, I like to help people. That's what I originally got into law for. And in litigation, sometimes you feel like you lose that. In mediation, I feel you can help people get resolution.
Right. Well, and it's nice that you speak the legal language that's necessary to work with municipalities and work with other attorneys and work within the corporate environment, but that you also come to the table with the idea that you really sincerely want people to be better off for having sat down with you in that room than not. And that sincerity, I think, is so important and really admirable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if people are watching this video and they want to know more about finding a mediator in Vancouver or Victoria, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, they can start with my website and have a look, beachlegalsolutions.ca. And also they can phone 250-940-3597, or they can email me at beachlegal@outlook.com.
All right, that's excellent. And you're on LinkedIn as well?
Oh, yes, I'm on LinkedIn, yes.
All right, so people have a lot of ways to socially verify that you really are as good as I'm telling people you are, because you really are that good. So for anyone watching, I will, of course, put the link to Susan's website, beachlegalsolutions.ca, in the description bar down below. Feel free to link to that or share this video if you know someone in the Vancouver, Victoria, BC area who needs Susan's services. Please forward the information. Susan, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Listen, everyone, as always, please feel free to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this video. Please contact Susan if you've got a case that needs a little creative legal mind put to it to get to resolution. And as always, be good humans. Thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.